Tucked away in the background of every Stellaron Hunter group appearance is a mysterious and unknown figure that to most of us has gone unnoticed. A figure that seems inconspicuous and yet has always been there. The Stellaron Hunters are so interesting individually that we fail to notice this individual lurking in the background. But who exactly am I talking about? It's unlikely that we missed a whole other person, right? Well, it's not a person at all. It's a cat. Yes, we're gonna talk about this cat again, so strap yourselves in. Before we do though, if you wanna see more Honkai Star Rail content, do consider subscribing to the channel. Initially, when I first talked about this cat in my Who is Elio video, I was largely making a joke. I claimed that this black cat was in fact Elio, given it appeared in Kafka's splash art along with the other members of the Stellaron Hunters. At the time, a singular appearance was chalked up to nothing more than a coincidence. But recently, in Kafka's trailer, this cat appeared once more, at the very end of that particular video. It also marked its third appearance in Kafka's web event, but only as a figurine this time. The point is that while we might want to think this cat is largely ignorable and likely doesn't have anything to do with the Stellaron Hunters, it's hard to ignore the fact that it has appeared a total of 3 separate times, while Sam has only appeared once. Each time Kafka and the Hunters are there, so is this cat. So as ridiculous as this idea is, let's explore it to the very end and see who this cat could possibly be, based on what we know so far. In the video I mentioned earlier, the first guess that I had on the true identity of this cat is none other than Elio himself. I won't repeat that convoluted theory here, so if you're curious, you can check out the other video. So let's move on to the next likely candidate. If the cat isn't Elio, perhaps it's instead Elio's partner. Now, this is largely an unfounded idea, but before Elio met Kafka and formed the Stellaron Hunters, it's entirely possible that he had operated with the help of others. Perhaps he had a large team before the Hunters, or perhaps he worked in sort of a duo with one other individual. Maybe this cat is that very individual. We don't really know any details about them though and why they have yet to be mentioned, but it's possible that this is indeed them given how close they are to the rest of the Hunters. What's weird is also the fact that this cat only ever appears in media where Kafka herself is present. There hasn't been anything so far that indicates that this cat has appeared alongside any other members of the Stellaron Hunters by themselves. This may imply that its connection is through Kafka, and given Kafka is functionally second in command, it would make sense why the cat hasn't appeared alongside others such as Blade. If the cat truly was one of the founding members of the Stellaron Hunters, it would make sense that it communicates only with Kafka or while she is present. Another idea more ridiculous than that is that this cat is in fact Sam. Now before you click off to another video, just hear me out. Firstly, when we see Sam, we don't really see him in flesh and blood. What we see is a mecha suit of some sort that speaks in a very automated and mechanical voice. A normal person would think Sam is just someone wearing a mecha suit, right? Well, hold on to your hats for this reveal. What if the cat is actually Sam and is remotely controlling the suit? The figure of Sam that we see is nothing more than an empty mecha controlled by this cat. If someone were in a fight with Sam, they would automatically aim for the mecha suit, reasonably thinking it's the bigger threat with its glowing eyes and energy emanating from its body. Why would you even bother with a cat that just so happened to be there? And therein lies the ultimate defense. Sam can never be defeated because it's never ever targeted. Because in truth, it's a cat. Now by this point, if you've stayed, you have clearly either recognized the genius of this theory or have just given up trying to fight this. So I'll drop one last potential theory here. In history, a black cat has always been seen as a dark omen and often associated with death itself. In almost every religion or form of belief, there is one common theme that is unchanging, and that is the finality of death. Even in England, in the past, the cat was considered to invite death, especially to newborns. In other parts of the world though, cats by themselves have always been associated with the divine and are often considered sacred. The Greeks believed this to be the case and so did the Egyptians. So what do you get when you put these facts together? A cat mythologically representing both the divine and the finality of death. Do you see where I'm going with this? The cat is obviously the Eon of Finality. Terminus, the actual Eon of Finality, is said to exist only at the end of time and has functionally flung himself backwards in time. So it stands to reason that since we are nowhere near the end of all things, Terminus in the present may not be as strong as its true body is, which is located far into the future. This means that Terminus in this current time may possibly inhabit the form of a small and defenseless cuddly cat, since it doesn't have its full powers. And there we have the final potential identity of the cat. It's Terminus, the Eon many believe to be directly linked to Elio himself. Now, if it isn't obvious, this is just a gag video. I'm just having fun here, and it's clear that this cat isn't likely to be anything I mentioned so far. I just found it funny that we've seen it appear as many times as we have, and was just curious if I could come up with random ideas on who it could be. While it is unlikely, stranger things have happened in Star Rail's universe, and so while common sense dictates we not take this too seriously, the possibility of this cat being a much bigger player than we might initially think should still be in the back of everyone's minds. The universe is filled with talking owls, seemingly sentient guns, and who knows what else. An all-powerful cat would fit right in. Let me know in the comments who you think this cat really is or what it might represent. Again, let me remind you, this is just a funny joke and not to be taken seriously. If you enjoyed the video though, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and as usual, have a nice day ahead.